Hey.
All right.
Awesome.
I think we're off.
We are on.
We're on.
Yes.
We're on.
Hello. Welcome to Live at Epiphan. It is Thursday. It is 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific, and we are here in the Ottawa studio. My name is Marta, and we have a new face here. This is Xiao.
Hi. Hello.
Xiao is
Hi.
our new writer. Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome.
I am glad to be here.
Awesome.
Excited to be
It's
here.
great to have you. How are you enjoying Epiphan video so far?
I am liking it a lot so far. I'm learning all sorts of new things, which is really cool. So yeah.
And then they just throw you into the ocean, like, here, do a live show.
I like it like that though. Just get right at it. Why wait?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. So yeah, we're excited today. We also have some new members in our production team. Where we're doing a bit of training for our employees, so we put them on the dashboard today. So it's going to be great. We're super excited. They've been trained. They know what they're doing. Alrighty. So the topic for today is preparing your talent for your next video production.
That's really exciting because like sometimes we talk about like the tech side of stuff, like how to set up cameras or do lights or stuff, but sometimes people like forget that, I mean, you have to prepare people just as much, right?
That's right. Quick side note, I just wanted to say hello to everyone in chat.
Right.
We forgot to do that. Thank you so much for joining us. We are monitoring comments. Who is in there?
We have got all the regulars. We have Tim Trott here every week, Danny Grizzle, and Jeff Weimer. We've got Linda Boonstra, who wished us all a Happy New Year. I'm going to pop that up on screen. Happy New Year,
Linda.
all.
Thank you.
Onward and upward into 2020. So that's nice.
So leave us a comment if you have any questions. Feel free. We will keep an eye on them, and we will get back to you ASAP.
Yeah.
All right. So back to the studio. So we're talking about preparing your talent for your next video production, and by that we mean going into a video studio. So let's say you have an idea of the video you want to make. You booked a studio. You walk in. Everything is fairly new. You don't quite know what to expect, but we're going to help you with that. We're going to help you figure out what you need to be thinking about and how to prepare for it.
Absolutely.
So shall we just jump into it?
Yeah, let's hop right into it.
Alrighty. So the first thing you need to figure out is, of course, what the video is going to be.
Yeah.
Right?
What are we shooting?
What are we shooting?
What are we shooting?
So we've been actually playing with a video studio in our Palo Alto office. And we've had all kinds of customers come in. Some did a webinar. Some did a live show, like right now. Some did some educational video where they would like talk into a camera. And for each one of those types of video, you need a different type of setup.
Right, and each different type of setup will affect the video a little bit, give people a sort of different impression when they're watching it, give them sort of a different feeling as they see the video getting played back, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
So for example, if you're doing an executive pitch or some type of educational video, a talking head might be a really good layout. So a talking head is exactly that, just one head talking. Let's see if we have we have some graphics to help us out. So for example, you see the person on the black background, that is pretty much a talking head. Sometimes it's even more zoomed in than that.
Yeah, you'll see it on broadcast news a lot. Sometimes when they do remote interviews, it'll just cut them off right at sort of the chest level or shoulder up.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So if you're shooting an executive message, or you just want to talk directly to your viewer, a talking head is a really good setup. Another setup would be an interview. So if you are interviewing someone, typically for that we use 3 cameras. So one camera is usually pointed at one of the people, the other one at the other person.
At the interviewer?
And the interviewer. And then there's another camera that gets like the wide shot. The wide shot.
And even with that, there's a lot of room for things you can play with, because sometimes you want like that over-the-shoulder look, or kind of, it makes it look a bit more intimate sometimes, right?
That's right. Yeah. That's the other type of scenario where you have a camera positioned behind the shoulder of the interviewer, which provides, as you said, like a more intimate look at the person who is talking. We actually had a person come in who was doing a documentary, and he was never actually on camera. He was always behind the camera. He was just asking questions, and the person was responding to him.
So, I mean, how did that end up looking on the finished product for a documentary?
So that's another good tip. If you are doing a behind the shoulder interview, you want to make sure that the person answers your question fully, not just like yes or no, but kind of almost repeats the question from the beginning and then answers it. So it almost looks like this person is just talking into a camera. It's almost like a talking head, but like a prompted talking head.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
So we covered the talking head, the interview style. Another type of video could involve a table. So talking about setups, something that we have right now is pretty much, a setup with a table. This is good for product demos if you want to show something off, if you have props. I have a prop for later. So having a table is really good for that.
Yeah.
So think about the type of video you want to make, what you're trying to convey, and from that, you will determine which type of setup you want. Now, sometimes you don't have a videographer. Sometimes if you do have one, they could help you. But if you don't have one, keeping these things in mind will really help you.
Really, it sounds like the more planning you can put into it ahead of time, the better your results on the other end are going to be. Yeah?
Definitely, yeah. So once you have your setup figured out, you can think about the background. So we have this next slide up. Oh, this is actually the interview. This is a good example of the interview style. See how in post, then you put the 3 types of video together, or the three shots.
The 3 shots go together as a sort of sequence. So yeah, it really helps tell the story of the interview. Tell the story,
yeah. Exactly. Also here, featured the green background. So in as far as backgrounds go, you can do the green screen, which is also called chroma keying.
Yeah.
You can then replace that green screen with anything you want.
It gives you a lot of options, right?
That's right.
Like it really lets you do. I mean, we saw some really great examples here on the live show during the holidays with a lot of the stuff that they were doing.
Oh
right?
yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was incredible.
And remember when Cameron and George were in the car and they were really driving? They were really in the car. That was probably my favorite one.
Right.
They actually had a screen behind them that time, but a green screen would have worked as well.
Yep.
So if you want to replace your background, if you want a specific kind of image in your background, use a green screen. Consider using a green screen. We have this next clip that we want to show. This is going to show you how the green screen gets replaced in post. So here our producer took out the green screen, replaced it with a white background. You could also put like a logo in the white background or any other information that you want.
And if you haven't decided on a background, if you want a light background or a dark background, the chroma key is a great option. You can make the decision later in post. Maybe the host's shirt doesn't work with a light background or a dark background. You can switch it around. So it gives you a lot of options.
A lot of flexibility.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And the reason why we like working with our pearls is because they have chroma key included with the software. So you can replace things on the fly, which for our live show allows us to replace the background. This is a real background. This isn't the green screen. But the Pearl would allow you to go live and replace the background at the same time.
Absolutely. And you see that quite often with people who do like video game streaming. That's becoming quite popular now as well. Yeah. It's almost standard now because it used to be you just see them playing the games, but now it's almost like if they don't have effects, it's a bit weird.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. One of my favorite streams is scam baiting. Have you heard of this?
No, I haven't. Tell me what it is.
So scam baiting is when you deliberately want scammers to call you, and then you talk to them for like 4 hours, just wasting their time. So this one guy does it really well, and he replaces his background with like IRS, if it's an IRS call.
Gosh.
Or like the store, if they ask him to go and get Google Play cards. So I really like that.
That is.
And it's all live.
Pretty creative. So those are just some of the options, obviously, that you can use for your background. If you don't want to use just the studio background or a regular kind of matte background, you can use the chroma key, and that will give you a lot of options.
Right. Yeah. But you can also use a solid background or even like view of the outside. View of the outside is a bit tricky, might be a bit tricky because of lighting, but that's also an option.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have covered the backgrounds, the setups. Now let's talk about actually planning your script. So having a script is pretty important.
It's super important.
if you don't know what you're talking about, you think you're going to walk into a studio and things are just going to align themselves. That's not going to happen. So having a script prepared is really important, and doing a table read is really, really important beforehand.
It really lets everyone get on the same page, literally and figuratively, just in case anyone doesn't really know what's going on. Even if it's on the script, sometimes it's not fully clear what someone's motivations or what they should be doing during a particular scene is. So that table read can really hash out a lot of confusion ahead of time.
For sure.
Yeah.
And what can help even more is having a storyboard. So on this image that we had up a script and a storyboard is a really, really good way to prepare, to go into a studio, to know which shots you want to get, so that at the end of the day, when you go home, you have all your shots. You're not like, oh, I forgot to get this one shot, we have to go back. You have everything.
Really, the less time you spend in the studio trying to figure things out and the more you're actually shooting your stuff, the better it is. Because all that time you're in there is going to cost you money.
Yeah.
Whether in terms of just like electricity, keeping everything on, time booked, or just time from people that are working it. So yeah.
It gets pretty chaotic in there.
Yeah.
It gets pretty chaotic. So another good tip is having an assistant with you. An assistant can do lots of things. He can keep eye on the time.
Yeah.
He can tell you which takes were good. So having an outside perspective on things is really, really important. So we highly recommend bringing an assistant with you to your video shoot.
Sometimes even just to manage your guests, because they'll be coming up to you while you're watching stuff back on the monitor asking, can I go, can I stay? And even if you just have somebody that can say, hey, do you want me to go get you some water or something, or take care of them for 5 minutes, that is a huge help that can make everything go a lot smoother.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right, so you figured out your setup, you figured out that you have a script, you have an assistant, you're ready to go. What do you wear? Most important question. So we do want to talk about choosing video-friendly attire for just a bit, just because there are things that can make a video, that would look bad on a video.
Yeah, there's definitely some stuff that can make videos look very weird, and you're starting to see it on your screen right now.
That's right. So if you wear a very, very, very small pattern, it's going to really mess with the video. Creating an effect called Moire.
It's the Moire effect.
Moire effect.
And if you have those fine lines or fine checks, Marta, I know you brought a jacket.
I do. I have a prop. I don't know if it's going to work.
Well, I mean, we'll see.
There is a fine pattern on it.
But
let's see. So here's the pattern we're talking about. I have flowers on top of flowers on top of flowers. Something got stuck here.
And that's exactly the kind of check usually you would start to see that effect on, because it's really fine, it's really tied together. I think the flowers might actually be helping.
So tell us in comments, how bad does this look? Is this messing with your eyes? This might be not so bad, but definitely consider wearing something solid.
Yeah.
Things that work best that we found are pastel colored tops. So for example, if you have like a light pink blouse and a darker top, that would look really, really nice.
Put you out in a light pink blouse.
I think I've definitely got a few.
Looks stellar in there.
I've got a few for sure. One thing you do want to avoid is wearing something that's the same color as your chroma key.
Oh my God, you don't want to do that.
Because that will have exactly the effect that you think it will have. You will just become a floating head. Or maybe you do want that effect, as evidenced in our Halloween show.
That's right. Yeah, as Cameron did it.
Yeah.
So also having a really, really white top with maybe like a black blazer is not the best idea, just because it's very high contrast. If your blackest black is your jacket, figuring out the rest of the color scheme might be really difficult.
There's a lot we can go into in terms of costuming and things like that that can affect the way your face color ends up coming out, because sometimes you see people, sometimes they look a bit sickly on camera, and that's literally just the color of jacket they're wearing. And yeah, we could spend a whole show on that, but we will not.
Look at good examples, look at bad examples, and really think about what you're wearing. Another thing you should think about are glasses. So if your talent wears glasses, they're very reflective, and they're going to look very reflective on camera.
Yes. And if you're not careful, if you have a close shot, sometimes they can even end up reflecting your camera right back into the shot, or things from behind the curtain that you don't necessarily want your audience to see. I know on some big film productions, sometimes they really have to take that into effect. If they have a close-up on like Daniel Craig while he's wearing glasses or something, they have to make sure that the whole crew doesn't end up getting reflected or something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's doable.
It's
you can't do
doable.
it, but it can be difficult.
You have to think about it.
One trick that you can do is you can actually shoot kind of 3/4, right? So if we go back to that example that we had, this is the same guy, same glasses. The only difference is that he tilted his head just a little bit to the left. So if you look directly into the camera, there's going to be more glare.
Absolutely.
There's also less reflective glasses that you can think about, but just keep in mind that that is a point. That is something that can happen.
And of course, contacts, always an option.
Contacts are a great option.
If they're available, they're an option.
Let's talk about also hair and makeup.
Yes, you want to look your best if possible when you're in front of a camera. No, I mean, flyaways in front of a green screen can cause problems.
Yes.
I mean, were you running into some of those problems down at the Palo Alto
Yeah,
studio?
we had a lot of. That was probably our like #1 problem.
Oh my gosh.
With the rim light, which is the light that kind of goes behind the person to create a nice effect.
Like the halo?
Yeah, like the halo effect. That's where it was visible the most.
Right.
So little stray hairs, they were just all over the place. So make sure to use just a little bit of hairspray, maybe even like spray on your hands, and just tame those flyaways. Very important.
Yeah, just have a quick look before you go live, before you go on air.
Another thing you don't want to be is shiny on camera. Your face should look as matte as possible because that's very distracting.
This is going out of the realm of my expertise, Margaret. You're going to have to take
well,
the lead here.
you actually don't look very shiny. But I brought a prop that I intend to use. So one good way, I know that men generally don't wear too much makeup.
Unless you're in Korea. But
or you're James Charles.
Yeah.
But having just a little bit of translucent powder, which is basically like clear powder, there's no color to it, can make your face look more matte. I thought
and that won't change the color.
It won't change the color of your face. It won't even look like you're wearing any makeup. And I remember Dan Wallace showing this on one of the shows, and I thought, oh my God, translucent powder must be hard to find. Any drugstore, you can find this stuff.
So what does that look like when it's on?
Do you want me to try it on you?
Yeah, let's go. Yeah, let's go for it.
Okay, so we're gonna try just a little bit.
All right, let's go for it.
Okay, so as you can see, it's just like white powder. I'm gonna tap a little bit this off.
Right.
Let's see, where's your shiniest spot? Maybe like your forehead. So all it does, it just mattifies the shine.
Am I pretty now?
Get there.
See, there's absolutely no color, but there's also less glare. So
I can't. Oh, I got to put on my glasses. I got to put on my glasses.
I can see it. I can see it.
Looks.
I think it's much less shiny than before. So for people who don't want to put on a lot of makeup, you can always use translucent powder. For women, there's usually like a bit more makeup involved.
Right.
So you might want to either hire a professional makeup artist or do the makeup yourself. But I think it's good to come into the studio with your makeup done or budget time for makeup.
And yeah, I see Danny Grizzle has a really, really great comment in chat. He says he keeps a basic makeup kit with a brush and powder on hand. Men too, and he uses the famous example of the Kennedy and Nixon debate, where if I recall correctly, Kennedy wore makeup and Nixon didn't, and people watching on TV thought Nixon looked tired and sort of haggard, even though
he was stressed out. Another thing, lights are bright. Lights are bright and warm. So after a while, there's going to be a bit of sweat on your forehead whether you want it or not.
Yeah.
This thing can help control that. Another thing about lights, since we're on the topic of these, one of our customers recently had eye surgery. So it was really difficult for her to stay focused on the camera with all these bright lights around her. So keep that in mind. It might be difficult to keep focused with these really, really bright lights on you. So be prepared for that. Just something to keep in mind.
Is there a way to sort of mitigate that? Maybe use smaller takes or something like that, like budget breaks in between your shoots?
Yes. You don't have to do the whole thing at once. You can do smaller takes, exactly. Or you can come a little bit later when you feel a little bit better.
Yeah.
All right, so we talked about makeup. We talked about keeping your hair tame.
Thank you, Faithful Mess, who says I'm the prettiest boy on screen right now.
Very matte. Very
There we
matte.
go.
Super.
Lovely. All right.
So let's talk about a few more things to keep in mind when you're going into a video studio. So important advice, arriving early.
Right. Manage your time.
Manage your time. Things will go wrong. Rarely did we see it when people just went in and just started shooting. Even professionals, even people who have done it before. There is always things like mic checks, right?
Yeah.
You have to, everyone's voice is different. You have to adjust the microphone for each person individually.
You have no idea what could happen on the day of. Anything could happen, right? Someone could get caught in traffic, or someone could just suddenly have a panic attack before they're supposed to shoot, right?
Exactly. So arrive, 15, 20 minutes early. You don't want to be wasting studio time, especially if it's rented for a short period of time. Use your
Yes.
time in the studio wisely.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
you want to budget some time for your setup, for your studio tests, for
To
some
get
downtime.
comfortable.
Yeah, absolutely. If you can, anyway.
yeah, always good idea. And the last piece of advice we have is break a leg. Have fun. These things, are stressful.
You might not get it the first time. You probably won't get it the first time. That's fine. That's why we record these things, right?
Exactly.
That's why you do it again and again
Yeah.
if you have to. And that's why video is so great, because you can play it back on a monitor, see how good it was, go back, get it again if you need to get it again until it's just right.
We had people come in to do a 5-minute video,
Yeah.
and it took them 2 hours to shoot the entire thing because they would shoot in little tiny bits.
Yeah.
And that's another point to budgeting time. You think, oh, it's a 5-minute video. It's going to take me, 5 minutes to make. No, there probably will be takes.
Yes.
You should be ready for that. And if there are a lot of takes and you are kind of the camera operator, a good piece of advice is if you have a clapperboard and you're saying, scene 1, scene 2, take 1, take 99, take
Yeah,
100.
yeah.
That can get really stressful to the presenter.
They think they're wasting everyone's time. They
Yes.
don't know why they're not getting it right, and you don't want to make them think about that.
Yeah. So one way you can kind of make them a bit more calmer is you can consider splitting takes. So you can say, this is scene 1, this is take 1A,
Right.
1B. So make sure that number doesn't go too high. Take 99.
That's a bit extreme.
Yeah. So just break it down into small pieces, and that's going to be more manageable for everyone.
Whatever you want to do to make people feel more comfortable, like going back to the time issue, like I used to work in TV news, and sometimes you'd see a 2-minute interview go to air, and that actually took 30 minutes to shoot, just because you have to get the people relaxed. Maybe the first 10 minutes they're too tense on camera and that kind of thing. So yeah, don't worry about that. Take your time to get it right.
One good piece of advice I heard was get your loudest take out of the way. Get your crazy take out of the way first. So do as loud and as over the top as you can, and your next take is going to be much better. You're going to be more relaxed. You're going to be more prepared. So do a crazy take first, then do all your other takes.
I hear that they used to do that on Kubrick did that on Dr. Strangelove.
Oh, really?
And then used the crazy take.
Or you can do that.
That's
Just a crazy take.
That's some editorial choice though at that point. But I mean, with more and more production crews being sort of stripped down and things being done remotely, it's more and more important for people in front of the camera to start taking these kinds of responsibilities on for themselves, right?
That's right. We've been talking a lot internally about remote video production, and we think that's a very interesting concept. And we think the future, basically, of video production is remote.
If you see a lot of TV newsrooms now, they don't have anyone doing it in town. It's all done out of one big studio somewhere else, and all these studios are controlled with IPTV cameras or things like that, where there's one person controlling it in a master control room somewhere else. Everything's remote.
Yeah. So we're going to have more people wanting to shoot video coming into a studio and just doing it on their own, and you should be prepared to do that. So again, don't rush. Take your time. Get the good take.
So we've got a comment from Danny Grizzle in the chat. He says, I push for live streaming for the sake of productivity. Doing a million takes kills 10 times the time in post for editing.
That's right. Do it live.
Do it live.
Let's do it live.
Just
That's
do it
why we're
live.
doing it live. The live streaming does save time, but you're kind of compromising that like best take.
There are different tools in your toolbox. Like you wouldn't use a hammer to screw a nail, right?
That's right.
Or something like that. But so if you wanted to do like a CEO giving an all hands, talk to all his staff, he's going to want to do that pre-produced with a teleprompter, with the studio, with the lights, with the makeup. But obviously for something like live at Epiphan, we can do this live. We can do this without the prompter, without a script. It's a bit more, we have more freedom for this. Like I said, different tools for different use cases,
Exactly.
right?
If you want to fine tune that message, you're going to have to do the 10 takes.
Yeah.
But we're just doing a live show. We're here for information and entertainment. And guys, thank you so much for leaving all those comments in chat. We see you.
We see you.
If you have any more questions about preparing your talent for your next video production, throw those into chat. We'll try to answer all those questions.
If this is your first time watching, please like, subscribe, hit the little bell so you get all
all the
your
things.
Notifications when
Yep.
we go live and all that.
Visit our site. If you're coming to ISE in Amsterdam, February 11th, February 14th, please come see it. Please come see us.
Where will we be?
We're going to be at stand 11B110. If you can also use the code, it's on the screen right now.
Oh, there we go. Yeah,
for free ticket to the show. All of this is going to be in the description after the show. You can always find it there. But yeah, come see us at the show if you're there. Be happy to see you.
Absolutely.
As always, follow us on socials, do all the bell things, and
Like, subscribe.
That's right. Do we have any last comments? Anything?
I'm not sure. We
people
can.
are saying we had so many viewers today. I
We
saw
had
just a list
A
going.
decent number of viewers, which I quite enjoyed for my first show. That was nice.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. How was that for you?
I mean, we're not done yet.
We're not done yet.
We're not done
We're
yet.
not done yet.
So that is fascinating. Next week we will. Well, it looks like we are going to be talking about HDMI versus SDI versus USB video. So that'll be fascinating. Plenty to learn about.
That's right. So
So-
tune in for next week's show. But till then.